Did you know that the new iPhone 15s are being announced this week? Which means many people will be debating if they should upgrade or not. In this video, I'm going to help you figure out if it's time to upgrade. If you found this video by it being suggested, I do all things related to Apple, the good and the bad. If that sounds like your thing, please go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, but more importantly, ring that notification bell so you won't miss my next video when I post it. Thank you. I've had this discussion for years with people, and I've come up with the 5 most important things you need to consider before you upgrade. Number 1, what phone are you currently using? The amount of older iPhones that are out there really speaks volumes for the quality of Apple's products. Yes, I know Apple was busted for slowing down phones and not telling people. That was years ago. They admitted it, so get over it. Now, it's certainly not acceptable, but there are good reasons why any device that runs on constantly updated software eventually starts to slow down because the older hardware just can't keep up. So let's talk about which phone you're using right now. Now, Apple will support iPhones for a while on software and even longer security-wise. And it's super easy to find out if your phone is or isn't on this list. So let's just go ahead and start with that. The latest operating system is iOS 16. And the oldest phone that Apple will allow to run this software is the iPhone 8. So anything newer is good to go. Keep in mind, every year Apple updates the OS to something new. This year, iOS 17 was announced at WWDC, and Apple will update which phones will be able to run on it. Sadly, the phones not making the cut this year are going to be the iPhone 8s and iPhone 10, which was Apple's first phone without a home button. Every phone released after the 10 is fine this year. So next year when iOS 18 is announced, the phones that will most likely be cut are the XS lineup and the XR. First off, Apple supporting phones that are 5 to 6 years old is actually pretty impressive. But even these older phones won't run as well as the newer devices with the latest software, so you gotta pay close attention to what you can live with each day. Many folks are perfectly fine with even older phones. So that begs the question, when does it become unsafe for you to use an older iPhone? You know what? I'm glad you asked. Oh wait, you didn't. I did. Some of you may have. Apple does in fact support iPhones back even further with security updates. So if you don't care about the OS and you're happy with the device that you're currently using, then keep on using it. The oldest phones still receiving security updates are the iPhone 5S and 6. But just like the 8 and 10, that support will most likely end when iOS 17 is officially released. In my opinion, if you're still using an iPhone 5S or 6, or maybe even older, it's time to consider upgrading. Do you have to get the latest and greatest? Hell no. Anything newer will most likely be perfectly fine considering whatever your budget is. Most mobile phone providers have newer iPhones that cost little or nothing to you. More on that in a couple minutes. Just keep watching. Number 2, what's the condition of your phone? If you have a phone that looks like this, I honestly don't know what to tell you. Many people are still under contract. Yes, that's still a thing, even though they don't call it a contract.
Don't call it a comeback!
I don't know why I threw that in there, it just popped in my head. I'm sorry. What do you think it means when you see an iPhone 14 Pro Max for $33 a month over 36 months? It means if you leave the company before 36 months, you have to turn the phone back in. I also wouldn't be surprised if buried somewhere in the fine print, the phone needs to be in working order for no fee. I'm just saying, make sure you ask questions before you sign up for these. Now, I can certainly sympathize. This is a tough situation because you can't afford to get the phone fixed and you can't upgrade. There are ways to potentially avoid that issue. For starters, use a damn case or a screen protector if you can. Get insurance through the carrier or Apple if it's available. Now, yes, it's gonna be more, but you don't have to worry, especially if, you know, you drop stuff. Now, if you don't owe any money on the phone and it looks like TechRack's tested the phone, then it's time to upgrade. Number 3, how much storage do you have left on your phone? The better our cameras get, the more storage we use. The more apps you download, the more storage you use. Get the point? You need to keep an eye on your storage. When you get a new phone, it is important to look and see the amount of storage you're currently using on your phone. If you think you're getting a great deal upgrading your current phone to a new one, you need to make sure it's got more storage if you need it. If your phone is already low on storage, don't get a new phone with the same storage. A phone that has almost full storage will affect the performance.
That's what she said?
I know many of you try to get the software update and you get the message. iPhone storage full. The first thing you need to do is get rid of all the apps you're not using. Now look, this is just one of many steps. I don't want to get into it all in this video, but if you do want to see one of those videos, go ahead and give this one a thumbs up. This is pretty straightforward. Get more storage than your current phone has, okay? Next. Number 4, battery life. Many people don't realize that you can check the life of your battery on the iPhone to see if it needs to be replaced or it's time to upgrade. Also, no, it's not the battery for what's left on the current charge. I've had people say that. It's okay. It's the actual life left on the battery before it won't hold a charge anymore. Now, this is super easy to check. Under Settings, scroll down to Battery and tap. Let the screen update for a second and look down for battery health and charging and tap that. Now there are a few things to look at on this page, starting with the maximum capacity. How often have you let the phone die? Full charge, charge halfway, etc. All that affects the life of your battery. I replaced the battery on my iPhone 13 Pro late last year via Apple, and it's already at 89%. Now, I know exactly why. I usually drop my phone on the charger during the day when I'm working, so if I'm going out later, I make sure it has a full charge. This affects my battery really badly.
You're naughty.
Lower on the list is optimized battery for charging, and you can read what that says along with the clean energy charging. If you're below, say, 80% and you have an older phone, it's not super expensive to have a third party replace it. However, the cost of a newer phone might not be far off, and it might be worth just upgrading instead. Now, what really ticks me off is battery tech is so far behind the devices.
It's not funny.
Everyone's answer? Bigger batteries, optimized function. I mean, they're kind of stuck. What I would like to see, along with many other people, is the freaking battery tech to take some large step forward. It's so slow. I could do a whole video on that as well. Leave a comment down below and let me know what your current iPhone is and what's left on your battery life. Number 5. How much does this new phone gonna cost me? Look, the world isn't getting any cheaper, and it seems like companies aren't looking to make it any easier for those who are already living paycheck to paycheck. I know it's not easy, and I know many people don't even want to spend $500 or $600, let alone $1,000 plus on new phones. The iPhone 15 lineup may actually be getting a price bump this year. I mean, we've heard it every year, but again this year.
Oh my God, no!
Which means last year's models aren't going to be discounted much either. So if you want to upgrade and the price is an important factor, you don't have to get the latest and greatest. If you're on an iPhone 12, 13, or 14 and it passes the last 4 things I talked about on this list, you should be fine for a few years. Now, if you're on an older phone, like I mentioned, mobile providers have tons of options for many iPhones at very affordable prices. Some are even free. Sort of. For example, on Verizon Wireless, since I'm using them for now, I can see here they have 27 available iPhone models. Let's start with the least expensive. Since Apple updates their list every year, I would suggest at least 3 to 9 generations higher, especially if you're using an older phone like the 5S or 6. Obviously, the higher the move, the older the phone. If you're on an iPhone 10, just upgrading to the 11 would be huge for so many reasons. Verizon offers a certified pre-owned iPhone 11 in many colors for $285 outright. If you sign up for 3 years, they'll give you the phone for free. Now, that is up to you depending on your budget, but in my opinion, that's a pretty good option. Now, of course, as you move up from there, there's newer phones for $0 a month, but it all depends on what plan you're currently using. So look carefully and ask questions. Never feel pressured to get a phone that you can't afford. with the newer iPhones coming out this week. I just wanted you to be armed with the important info that you need and not filled with all the hype that comes with new iPhones. Now, I do plan on picking up a few of the new iPhones to see how my experience will change since I'm still using the 13 Pro. If you're using an iPhone currently, then the chances are you might have a car with Apple CarPlay. Are you happy with the performance? Do you want to upgrade to the wireless CarPlay? Go ahead and check out this video right here. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications so you won't miss my next video. See ya!